Mhm.
Marie is from Toronto.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is Maria?
Marie is one of our little boxes here.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Yes. Hello, Marie from Toronto. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody. It's pretty much time to start. And so I'm Carol Christopher, and Lori and Goldman and I are going to be chairing this today without Erlene, who sends regrets. Her husband was taken to the hospital with sepsis, and we were quite worried for a while, but things seem to be getting better. But she can't be here today, so hi from her, and next time. And I wondered if we could do something kind of communal for a land acknowledgement. I gave a land acknowledgement to a master gardener group this week, and one of the things that came to my mind, and I don't think this is original, I think I read it somewhere, that Westerners have lost the original instruction manual for who we are on this planet and what our relationship with the planet is meant to be. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way to think about how do we reconnect with the land? Because I personally see that as a very, very deeply under, I don't know whether undergirding or underlying the climate crisis is our lack of capacity to understand properly our relationship with the land. And so then I thought maybe we could just collectively uh, gather a few examples of things that you know that are happening that are indigenous led or indigenous partnered events, projects in your part of the world that uh, help us to understand the role of indigenous people kind of in helping us to see again what our proper relationship is with the earth. Anybody want to say something about something you know that's happening or a project or yes, Sue, go ahead.
Got something? Hello?
I'm sorry, who was that?
It's Tim Larson.
Tim, do you want to go ahead and do something, say something?
Yeah, the Tlama Nation up here has produced a fantastic film called Namesake, and it sprang up from the request that Tlama made to consider a name change. But the film centers on the relationship Tla'amin have with the land. And the thing that struck me was settlers name places after people. The nation will name places according to what their characteristic is. So to me, that illustrates entirely the different approach to living on the land between our two cultures. We have a
Right.
lot to learn.
Thank you, Tim. That's beautiful. Sue, you also had your hand up.
Just down the road from where I live in Karamias. There's a First Nations garden. It's a huge garden run by volunteers. And not this weekend, but the following, they host something called Nation to Nation, where Indigenous groups from all over the world gather. And all people, settlers as well, are welcome to join them for dancing, food, discussion, a tour of the garden. It's a wonderful 2-day event.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else want to add maybe one or two more examples?
Fingers for climate research.
Yes, Satya, you're muted.
Um, for a few years in my childhood, we were brought up in the bush without water or electricity or anything. But then I taught school in Telegraph Creek, which is completely indigenous, and we hung out with the teenagers, and then we worked with them, and it was, their dogs, their sleighs, the hunting, all the fishing, all their equipment. It was just part of life. It was so normal and natural to be part of the
Mm,
earth.
That's
It
a
was
lovely
beautiful.
life experience to share. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Eric.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things here in Greater Victoria region is that a First Nations group led a campaign to stop a highway expansion that was at least semi-successful, focused on preserving a salmon stream that runs right next to the highway. And basically, the provincial government wanted to make the stream narrower and the highway wider. Um, and they were, of course, focused on the stream, but also on the benefits of shifting that money to public transit. And I'm going to just put a link to the BC Assembly of First Nations low carbon transportation report, which is finally in the final version with beautiful graphics and showing their leadership in reducing greenhouse gas pollution from transportation, but also making our transportation more affordable and just.
That's great. And for people that may not know Eric, you have a pretty long and strong basis for talking about transportation issues in the province. So thank you very much, Eric. That's really great. All right, I think that's lovely. Those are all nice examples. The only thing I want to add is that an Indigenous climate action webinar, and as I understand from Lori, the group, the leadership group uh, of this webinar has joined Seniors for Climate, and they're having a webinar on June 1st, and we'll put that into, Lori, can you put that also into the chat?
It is already there.
Great, it's
Yeah.
already in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing Lori is going to do a short update of the Seniors for Climate BC Hub organized and a couple of words about website resources. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Carol, and welcome to everybody here. So great to see you. I am on the unceded ancestral land of the Syilx Okanagan people in Penticton, so-called Penticton. And we finally had rain here for the first time in months. It's been really terrible. So the hub is really getting organized. We have our committees that are set up and they're really getting mobilized. The Seniors for Climate BC Hub Steering Committee meets every second week on a Friday, and we are working on organizing to get a website. We do have one web page with spec, and we are developing to have more pages so that people will be able to find resources much easier. So if they want to do a climate cafe, they'll be able to go to find that, or if they want more information about greenhouse gases, they'll be able to go and find what they need to share to help them to help other people in their community to get mobilized and to get collaborate together. So that is underway. It's an ongoing process, and we're working really hard at it. And it's a great team of people doing that hard work. And now I think I can just move on to the committee reports.
Sure.
There are a few committees that have been very active, and we have some of the people on the call right now. So maybe I'll ask Diane first to talk about resources, and then Sue to give just a little bit of information about the Education Committee. And then, yeah, let's start with that.
Great. Thanks, Lori. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm in Delta. I'm on the unceded territories of both the Musqueam and the Tsawwassen, as well as other Coast Salish peoples. I'm working with the Resource Committee, and we're mostly focused on documentation organization. So we're trying to get all of the work the committee is doing organized and easily available for the committees to work on, which will then feed into the new website for anything we want to publish to the wider public. And the team, the resource team or committee, will be offering training in June for all of the committee members.
Great.
That's about it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
That's
Thank you.
great. And it's really amazing the work that you have done, Diane, to get all of those documents and folders and make other folders. And it's a real skill that we really appreciate you spending the time to do that because it takes a lot of work. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori.
Sue, would you like to go next?
Hi, everyone. I'm with the Education Committee, and we've been involved in so many different things lately. It's been really inspiring. Lori asked me to give a really long presentation about one thing, though. No, I'm just kidding. She kept mentioning short, so I wrote it out. Um, so as you know, the majority of Canadians care about climate change. Even if they care about making ends meet or finding a place to live, they still do care about climate change. So one of the best ways to encourage these people is to tell them what they're doing right, how they're already helping. So shopping secondhand, thrifting, is one way that people can make a difference. The Education Committee put together a handout on the climate benefits of thrifting. I tried it out in the thrift store where I work, and it was very well received. All sorts of conversations opened up when I handed it to someone and said, "This tells you about all the good things you're doing when you shop here." So now we're asking you to be a part of this. So please copy my email address from the chat and contact me today right after this meeting. Let me know 2 or 3 thrift stores where you could take the handout, and I'll send the link to you. I'll keep track so that Seniors for Climate don't go to the same stores more than once. When I took the handout, I made 50 black and white copies, took them to my store, and asked permission from the managers to have them handed out by the cashier. If copying is a problem for you, you can take one copy and ask them to make the copies. The Seniors for Climate BC logo and email address are on the handout, so people can reach us if they're interested. One place that we do not have a presence is in northern BC. So if you have a friend who would be willing to help, please get in touch with them. So let's reach out to all those people who are keen to help. We're not the only ones who care about climate change. And don't forget to be supportive. Look around the stores while you're there and buy something useful. That's it.
Thanks, Sue. That's great. Is there anyone from the Communications Committee? Dan's away, who would normally, I think, make a report, but is there anyone else from the Communications Committee?
I can step in for that. I know that they've been working very hard on putting together a longer sort of a newsletter, not just a monthly update letter. And they are looking for some help. So they've been organizing advocacy letters and doing some other things. But one of the things that communications does is they do reach out to people. So the newsletter is one way of communicating and keeping us connected. The other way is social media. A lot of people are still using Facebook to connect. We don't have a Facebook account or Blue Sky or LinkedIn or Instagram. So the communications committee is looking for someone who can create graphics that you see on Facebook or Instagram, and also to be the person who might manage that. And certainly you can let us know at bc-hub at seniorsforclimate.org, which is our general email. We'll put that into the follow-up email that you get with the recording. Because we really need to be able to connect more people. We can't get more people joining us if they don't know in our little communities and big communities what we're doing. And social media is the way we do that. Of course, email works as well, and we've got over 1,300 people on our email list, so we're able to reach people who have already joined us. But to get new people, that's really one way. So if anybody has the interest or the skills or the desire to learn, social media would really be a great thing that we need for communications.
I'm curious to know how many, like, I really, aside from email, I'm not really on social media. And I get the impression from talking with a lot of other seniors my age that we're not such heavy users, but I'm curious to know how many of you are social media users aside from email or text? One, two, three. Yeah, I think we're maybe pretty typical
A
of
lot
that.
of people get their news or events updates from Facebook in many communities. So they don't really use social media, but they think Facebook is the way that they find out what's happening in their community. So
Yeah.
when you're on Facebook, you can join your Castlegar group or Penticton group, and then you can share and say, we're meeting for a climate cafe. If you don't have that, you're really missing thousands of people.
And Lynn, did you have a question or yes? You're muted, Lynn. Can you unmute yourself?
No, I was just going around on my screen. Sorry.
Oh no,
Um,
I'm sorry. It's a different Lynn.
Lynn,
oh,
Another Lynn. I thought I recognized your voice. Hi, Lynn. Lynn Perrin.
Yeah, so I belong to another two or three groups that I use Facebook quite a bit for myself and all of them.
Yeah.
And I use Blue Sky and I use Instagram.
So I'd consider you a heavy user, though I know
Yeah,
compared to you.
my daughter worries about me actually. Mom, get off of the screen.
well, Lynn, if you would be interested, we can contact you after and have a chat and see if you might
Yeah, for
be a
sure.
part. That'd be
For
great.
sure.
That's great. And hang on just one second, Susan. I'll be coming right to you. But I saw another hand, Crawley. Uh,
Susan Crawley.
No, that's
Susan.
okay. Yeah, that just my app went up when I put up my hand.
Oh, I see. Okay. Susan.
Yeah, I'm not too bad with putting graphics together. I'm an idiot at social media, so I would be happy to put some graphics together if someone else can distribute them.
Right, right. Well, that's great because it sounds like we have some talent within our own ranks to do that. Let me also, just because I noticed that Natasha is here, and I think we introduced you the last time, but let me say again that Natasha, the younger face on the screen, you're right in the middle of my screen. I don't know where you are on other people's screens, is a staff person that has some hours of responsibility to do some things to help this group and the steering committee for this group to get their work done. And it may be that there's particular ways, Natasha, you might even want to unmute yourself and just say two or three things that help to make who you are and what kinds of things that you do a little more visible to the group, understanding that we're now talking in the context of social media, but you don't have to stay there. But we'll come back and carry on with our agenda. But why don't you say a couple of things? Just make your presence a little more visible.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Carol. I'm sure some of you may remember my face from previous meetings. I've been around for a while, but yeah, basically I kind of stay on the administrative side of the BC Hub. I do a lot of um, I've been doing a lot of work with getting our email platform up and running again, and just some of the more behind the scenes things that keep us running. But in terms of social media, I am, I guess, on the younger side, and pretty well versed in this sort of thing. So if that's something people are interested in learning, I could definitely help um, facilitate some kind of workshop that um, shows how to, I guess, manage a social media account. That's something I've done for for different organizations in the past. So that's definitely something that would fall under my job description is teaching something like that. So
And and when there are specific things that are meant to be like moving the themes from the national group out to the provincial groups, that's an area too where Natasha can be helpful in distributing information. Although we know that Lori and others have also done a good deal of that work. Eric.
Yeah, I've got a question that's
Yes.
probably for Natasha,
Okay.
which is, do we have a consistent hashtag for this Breakthrough the Climate Silence campaign? Um,
I think I would have to check with um, I would have to check the national group's toolkit, but that will take me about 10 seconds and then I can find you an answer to that.
Okay, we'll come back to you in 10. How about 2 minutes? We'll come back to you. You go ahead and check that out. Okay, Lori, do you have any knowledge of that, just as a curiosity?
I don't, but I will be talking more about Breakthrough the Climate Silence later on the agenda.
Yeah.
And we can talk about some of the resources that they do have available
Yes.
when we get to that. There was one thing that I did want to mention and I forgot about committees. So I'm just going to back up a bit. The Communications Committee is also looking, or our group is looking for an events committee. There are different events that are happening and people don't know where to get support for that. So if we had somebody who wanted to be a facilitator and people who might be able to help to work together to create the resources or help people to find the resources when they're having an event. Like coming up to June, we have all of these events around the province happening, and people may not know how to, let's say, get themselves on the map or what kinds of things they could do or what do they need for insurance. And maybe there's an events committee that could be established to just work on those types of things. So again, if you're interested in that kind of work, volunteering, let us know. And we'll put the email address into the chat. Just
Okay. Lynn, and then we'll come back to Natasha, and then we'll move on. And Lynn Parent, you're muted again, Lynn. I know it's always hard to remember.
Did you say that the agenda is going to have an events part? This agenda today?
Yes, we're going to talk about what people already know they're doing.
Oh, okay.
With the Environment Week events and share stories with each other and a little.
I'll wait for that then.
Okay. Okay, great. I think then, Natasha, do you have anything to report?
I do. It looks like they're using hashtag Seniors for Climate, hashtag Later is Too Late, and hashtag Breakthrough the Climate Silence. I'm going to put that in the chat for everybody.
Okay, there you go, Eric. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is for, oh, wait a second. Who was going to do this? Oh, John. John, for you to give a little bit of an update on the nonpartisan emergency briefing that's planned for the spring of 2027. And do include, John, if you're ready to think about that, anything that you know that people can do to support this, because this is a province-wide effort. John, you're muted.
Carol, I'll try and stick to 5 minutes, but it may go a little over. Just stop me at any point. This has been quite an exciting endeavor. The energy into it has really come from Dan Kingsbury.
So, John, I'm going to just ask the group. I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Are other people? Yeah, can you move a little closer to your microphone?
Sure.
That would be great. Thanks.
Maybe I can turn the volume up.
That would be good, even better.
I know there's a way of doing. Oh, here it is down.
You muted yourself, just so you know, John.
Right.
Okay.
I think. Oh, here we are. Audio settings. Output volume. Here we are. Okay, that's at the top. Does that sound better now?
Okay, I think so. Go ahead.
Okay, so as I said, Dan Kingsbury, who's not here today, has really been taking the lead, and he's had a lot of help from Carol, and particularly in rounding up a person who can be the lead applicant for this. It requires a full-time faculty person, and Christoph, who's going to be the leader's full-time prof in engineering at UBC. So he's taking the lead, and there's several of us have signed up as co-lead, including Bob Willard and some other members of the UBC Emeritus College. And it's been a very illuminating process for me. The application is very long. If anybody wants a copy of it, I can forward it to them, but I won't burden you with it because it's pages and pages. And we were doing this on very short notice and just skated under the deadline for getting this in. It's not at all clear it's ever going to happen, but it's an
John,
application.
would you say who you're preparing it for?
It's for PICS, the Pacific Institute for Climate Solutions, and it's for $300,000 potentially.
So $300,000 potential.
300,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think the chances are quite small of getting this, but you never know. So what I've learned from this going forward here, for what it's worth, is that, here at Seniors for Climate, we're used to talking about climate change, but the argument has gotten much bigger than climate change, as most of you are aware. So not only are we talking about climate change, meaning global warming, perhaps, but we're also talking about ecological overshoot and collapse, the overconsumption of natural resources, by which I mean the air, the atmosphere, the land, the water, the oceans, fisheries, agriculture, habitat and land, release of toxins, etc., etc. So it's a mammoth enterprise, including, I should say, species extinction and forestry extinction. So there's lots of associated issues, and other ones, including a human population having to be 3 million, not 8 million, 3 billion, not 8 billion, and getting down to issues like the global heating that's happening. We're going to be getting increased fires, droughts, storms, floods, heat domes, tipping points leading us to at least 4 to 6 degrees of climate warming. And
So
that
John, as I understood it, this was also modeled on a process in Britain where they brought something like 70 different experts across the range of issues that you're talking about, the over exploitation of minerals, the overconsumption of just about everything, the climate crisis, the overshoot, the ecological overshoot, all of them talking in a context where they had the attention of their legislators as well as a large public contingent. And is that what you and Dan are also proposing?
Yeah, that's correct. We've been in touch with Randine Neal, who's the Minister for Land, Water, and Resource Stewardship. She's the MLA for Powell River Seashelt, and Dan and I have met with her a couple of times. She's a young, bright woman. She's very keen on this idea of holding a climate disaster briefing for the legislature in May of 2027.
Yes.
So that's where I mean, she's agreed to this and she's supporting this.
Yeah.
That by no means it's going to happen, but we've got her support. We don't know that we have EB's support or not. We'll have to get Lori to write to EB and tell him what he ought to do again. That was a great letter, Lori.
Yes.
So yeah, that's right. That's what we're aiming for, Carol, in the long term. So
So
we're also
that's a big ask, $300,000. And I think you and Dan and Christophe and a few others have worked very hard over the last couple of weeks to put this together. And it's pretty strong. But I think you're right. It's a long shot, perhaps, but let's hope, because that would be quite a wonderful thing for Seniors of Climate as a community partner in this process, to have the visibility of helping to put that together. And thank you.
I'll just make one further point, Carol, just in terms of messaging for Seniors for Climate. We're also looking at the root cause of all of this, the fact that we've got ongoing global warming happening, still continuing to produce fossil fuels and greenhouse gas emissions, et cetera, et cetera. The situation is self-destructive. This is going to lead to our extermination as a species and a civilization. So it's very important. So we want to understand the root cause, and the root cause that emerges very strongly is our overall globalized governance systems that have shifted away from a purpose-driven governance system where the purpose is looking after the common good of whatever population we're considering, whether it be federal, provincial, municipal, NGO, a business, whatever, looking after the common good, which we're taking to mean planetary well-being and population well-being. So the big challenge is going to be shifting our governance systems back to looking after planetary and population well-being. And that's going to take a huge amount of public education, awareness, engagement, and social action, civil disobedience, if necessary. So that's the way we've got to move forward on this thing.
So, John, you might like to put in the chat the name of the book and the author that I know you're now currently really excited about, Victoria. I forget her
Yeah,
name.
I can't get into chat for some reason, but
Oh,
the name of the book is Beyond Profit, and the author is from Harvard School of Business, and her name is Dr. Victoria Hurth, Hurth. It's a wonderful book explaining what is happening here. It's a bit expensive to buy, but it only came out in March, and so the libraries don't have it.
yeah. So Victoria Hurth, and it's the title again?
Beyond Profit.
Beyond Profit.
It's in the chat.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much, John. And boy, do we wish you well with this. Hope that works out very favorably.
Yeah, and thanks, Carol, for all the help you've been.
You're welcome. So we're going to turn attention now to the major focus of what the national group is urging us to do as we go into Environment Week is to take that theme of break through the climate silence and do something in our own communities that break through the climate silence, that start conversations, that help people to feel more comfortable, feel more skillful at opening a conversation and helping other people to open up in return and start moving out of the silence and into more social awareness, more taking up more social space with climate conversations. And I thought one of the things that we could do is hear about things that are happening. Lori.
Wait, before we do that, we have to go through what we learned yesterday in the organizers meeting.
Sure.
Yep. So I was in the organizers meeting yesterday talking about all the actions across the country. And I mean, it was quite exciting. People in Kingston have an amazing number of events and quality of events. And Victoria also has a wonderful program planned. In Penticton, we're doing a little bit of stuff, but that was it was wonderful in the organizers meeting to join in with people around the province. And I would recommend if you're interested in getting connected across the, not province, or across the country, it's really fun to go to those organizing meetings. And they're really about an hour. So what I learned yesterday is that there are lots of resources available to us. There is funding for your event. You have to keep your receipts of whatever insurance or venue, and then you can submit them, and the details of how to apply for reimbursement will follow. But the Seniors for Climate National Office has some funding. I think it's 150 or 200 per community until they reach $5,000. So you want to get your receipts in as quickly as possible to get into that funding stream. The other thing, of course, is we are hoping that people will get on the map. I'm going to show you where the map is. So this is the map here, and it's at the top of the website now. This is the National Seniors for Climate website. And this is BC. If you want to see clearer where people are, you just push this little button here, which is the going in button. Make it larger, increase. So we have 8 locations in BC right now that are having something large or small. Karameas is doing their DIY air purifier event. And if you are planning something large or small, you can, in the follow-up email, there's going to be the email addresses of who to send your information to. If you're having trouble with that, just email our Seniors for Climate BC Hub email address, and we will assist you in sending it on to the national so that they can put you on the map. When we are on the map, people can join us more. People can see, oh, there's something happening in my neighborhood. Who is doing what? Even if they don't join this time, they may join for the next event, or maybe through the summer to meet with their MLA or their MP, because we really want those people to hear our worry about their inaction and about the simple solutions that can be made. We have to be meeting with our elected leaders to really break through the climate silence. We have to do it in our communities, but we also have to do it with our elected leaders, who are our city council, our mayors, our MLAs, and our MPs, to really get action on this. And we vote. Our voices are very important. We have lots of education, we have lots of experience, and we have lots to offer. So we really want you guys to get on the map and get something going, even if it's just like the the toxic trivia party. This is being hosted by the 350.ca, and they will send you these cards, and you can have a little party. Just say to everybody, I'm going to be at the bar. Come join me for a trivia party and see who shows up. There are these graphics that we are going to be sharing again in the follow-up email. This is coming from the main
folder.
Yeah, the main organization, the national, and so they have made all of these available to us. And these are graphics that we are able to use for printing or for social media. and we're going to make this available to you so you can get into here, get into the folder, and download anything you need to use to connect with people. So that's a very important tool for you to use. And I think that's it for me about that. And then we can move on to the next part.
So the one thing that I would say is that it is fast, and if you're not familiar with going onto a website and finding out where the resource folder is and getting in to another layer to Google Drive and so on, that's a part of, I think, Diane, I'm right, that's a part of what you'll be helping people to see how to do that in June. And if you know it in one site, you've learned a very basic skill that you can apply to other websites and other resources. Diane, am I right about that?
Yes, we're focused on the committee members right now, but we could certainly make it even broader.
Yes.
The training.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So especially for you, as you want to learn how to access these, and then when you know it, you can become a little more of a trainer as well. You can help other people learn how to get on and get these resources. I also what? Well, I think then let's go to that part of our work where we get people to talk a little bit specifically. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Just today, I went on and put two. A friend asked me to do one for her, and I also did what Vancouver is doing, and it's not shown yet. But this is the time now when we're going to start to really populate that site because now we know what we're doing and we know enough to be able, because what they ask for is the date and just a very short the location and a very short paragraph that kind of says this is the sort of thing we're going to be doing. So it's not very demanding, but if you need help, please reach out. You can reach out to me. Lori, I don't know if you're feeling open to that kind of reach out, but it's very important at this point if you're doing something that we know what it is and that we get you on the map. So I want to make that as easy as possible for you. And then we're going to take a look at what some people are doing. Oh, so that's what Lori is showing you, although at the moment, right, is an example of what kind of information they're looking for. So it's really brief, but it gives people an idea of what's happening, and they put that down. Then when other people want to know, the map is on the home page, isn't it, Lori? Where is the map? Oh, event map. So I think most people would be, yes, we'd be able to find that. And that's right. Okay, so she's giving you the little repeat of the big points of getting onto this information. But you don't have to put it up. You just have to send it in, and a tech person will put it up on the map for you. Okay. Ricky, why don't you say a little bit about what's happening with the group that you're working with in Victoria? We'll start with you, and then we'll move from there.
Thanks, Carol. Well, I just sent an email just before this meeting saying, let's have a Zoom call to plan it out. So there's about 4 people that are, or five people, maybe 6, who are involved in trying to organize something on Government Street, which is the main pedestrian downtown open air mall in Victoria. We have the Red Rebels who are ready to point people towards the conversationalists who are going to be sitting in on the edges of the mall, of the walkway, and trying to encourage people to come and talk to us about climate. And we'll see how far we get. how many people want to come. So it's really quite. We're not there yet in terms of sending out or finalizing the plan, and we are certainly not there yet in terms of doing any publicity. So I'm hopeful that within the next week or so, we'll get it together. And Eric, if you have a chance to help us with the publicity, that would be great. Because you did such a great job during Earth Week.
Great. You got a thumbs up.
For sure.
Ricky, would you say what the Red Rebels are for people that may not know?
Well, I don't know exactly where this started, but not here. But this is a group of people who are dressed all in red costumes, the same red, including having their faces are white, but they're not really identifiable. They're sort of anonymous. They're like figures from an ancient Greek tragedy, and their purpose. Yes, there they are.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a bunch of people in the Victoria group who are former dancers, professional dancers and dance teachers who really like the idea of this, and they've been doing this. I think they started first with Draw the Line last year, and they've been to several council meetings on Sue Big Oil, outside the council meetings, not inside. And they like doing it, and they think it's helpful in drawing attention to climate issues. So that's who they are, and they're very dramatic and very appealing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thanks very much, Ricky.
Okay.
That sounds exciting. It made me want to come to Government Street and see what's happening there on that day. Somebody else, Lori.
I was just going to add a little something to what Ricky said about the Red Rebels. They started with Extinction Rebellion, I believe, in the UK, and I saw them information about them in Toronto, and they move silently, and they are silent. They don't speak. There are men and women, everybody who just wants to be part of something powerful and silent. They say the silence is what is even more impactful. And now they're being requested by the Indigenous groups around Toronto to come join them because their presence causes people to be more aware of what's going on. And so they're asking them to come to blessings and events when they're having them because they're so powerful. And there are patterns that you can get for the outfits and the headdresses, and they're quite creative. So if anybody's interested in learning more about that, they could contact the Victoria people, I'm sure, or get there's also somebody with the national group who is very effective with that, and she would be able to guide people to get the pattern and get organized about that.
Great. More and more theater and other forms of the arts are coming in to kind of augment and inspire and deepen the work that we're doing in the climate field. And somebody else that wants to talk about what's happening in your particular place. Go ahead, Satya. You're muted.
I'm in a seniors home, so we're a community of about 150 of all kinds and groups. I've been doing environmental talks for many years, but last August, with the permission and the help of the management, I gave a talk, and it was advertised, and they can put little posters up for me. At that point, the new things or the good things that were happening about the world, about all the solar panels and everything. And that was just after the International Court of Justice had done its thing. So people know that I was, quote, activist or whatever thing. Also, during the NDP leadership election, a number of people came out of the woodwork because they all voted for Abby Lewis, and they tried selling each other because he was the only one that talked about climate properly. So that was a climate issue where people started talking with each other. Now, at this point, now that we have the COP and the Santa Marta conference and so on, I'm giving the building an update on in June 3rd on the latest things that are happening. And the nice thing is that the management, which are young people, are very enthusiastic about what I'm doing. So
Great.
that's my piece.
Great. I think the more we can engage with young people, the better we're all going to be. Go ahead, Lynn.
Yeah, as I said in the chat, the city of Abbotsford is hosting an event on June 1st, and there's an information fair in the morning, and tables are free. So I did ask, I was at a meeting of that group earlier today, and I asked if there was the possibility for a table for BC Seniors for Climate, and the organizer said yes.
Right.
Now, the only thing is, I don't know if I'm the only one in Abbotsford or not of this group. I'm taking care of a dog an hour away from where the event is taking place. So, I mean, if there was someone else who could be at the table and hand out BC Seniors for Climate information, that would be great. And chat with people and share information with people.
So,
if
Lynn, are you
not,
actually trying to see if there's anyone here or if
yeah.
anyone knows someone? So let's just say if
Is there anyone like other than me who is involved with BC Seniors for Climate?
we're all involved with BC Seniors for Climate, but is there anyone close to Abbotsford?
Yeah. I mean, I could try and make arrangements because I really would like us to be at this event.
Of course, and I think that would be great, but I think we do need to, unfortunately, leave it in your hands, Lynn, because there doesn't seem to be anyone else here who's in proximity to help out.
Now, you said there's printed material that I could use, correct? Yes. And if I had to pay to print it up, that there's money to cover that cost. Is that true?
Yeah, if you do printing, I have made some information that they created nationally about why we are doing what we're doing, what are our asks. I can send you those documents. If you print, excuse me, if you print them and keep your receipts, then you will find out how to submit those receipts in order to get reimbursement.
Okay, thanks a lot. And there's this group in the city of, by the way, the city of Abbotsford right now is developing a climate resilience policy.
Great.
And because we've had deaths from the
heat dome.
Extreme heat dome, and also we've had two significant floods, one in 2021 and just this year.
Yes.
So the city is really getting active on the climate issue.
Yes.
And so there's a survey out for the community at large, and I have actually been on 2 focus groups.
Great.
City focus groups. And also another thing that's going on for the information of this group is Vancouver Coastal Health and Fraser Health have kind of a climate committee focused on seniors. And they're collaborating with the state of Washington and the state of Oregon. And for instance, the state of Oregon has actually is subsidizing the cost of heat exchangers. So I don't know if this group is at all interested in interacting with those kind of groups to share information with them and get information from them.
So maybe you are going to be an ambassador for that kind of activity, Lynn.
Well,
but thank you
I
for
would love
sharing
to be,
it.
yeah, I would love to be a liaison if the group is looking for liaisons.
Well, the group may have a better idea if you make yourself an unofficial liaison and bring back some information and see how that works.
Okay, great.
How that
Great.
works. That would be great. And thanks for all the stuff that you're doing to support your city. I think it's really important, the work that municipalities are doing to try to be more resilient, particularly to the heat dome, but to other. And it is definitely the case that seniors are differentially more, I don't like the word impacted. They experience more profound impacts from climate change than other age groups. And there's a big interest now in the health community in taking more, of taking a deeper look at that and understanding how to support seniors to do what they can in their own homes and for themselves, but also what kind of advocacy we need to be undertaking within our cities. And yeah.
Yeah, one of the groups actually last summer put together heat kits for seniors that were distributed
Yes.
from
Yes.
pharmacy.
That's happening
So,
around the country.
yeah.
Then I'm going
So,
to jump in
yeah.
and see if there's someone else
Yeah.
that wants to offer something that's happening in your community that you may be involved with organizing or you may just know about it. But is there anything else that people want to share? Yes, Elizabeth.
Hi, Lori asked me if I would tell you a little bit about what's happening with the communications committee.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And
just we're shifting back a little bit to
I know I came late.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I, I'm not sure what you'd be interested to learn. We've developed a mission and a mandate, and basically our mandate is to communicate to everybody and act as the central hub for what is going on. And we're having a meeting on Monday.
Great.
To review all this. One of the things we're focusing on at the moment is the newsletter, and it's taking a bit longer than we thought. We thought we'd be ready by now, but we're still trying to figure out the format and what the content should be, because there could be so much. But we're always interested in getting information about what's going on everywhere so that we can publicize it in our newsletter whenever it comes out, probably in June.
Elizabeth, were you here when Natasha was speaking?
No, I noticed Natasha was here because not Natasha, I gather from Natasha, is that the communication gets it and deals with all the material and then sends it to Natasha, who then gets to deal with a bit more.
Yes, and
make it look good and to make it work effectively.
Natasha can help you with formatting things.
That would be great.
Has that skill set. So if you're being slowed down by that, reach out to her now. And Natasha, why don't you make a point to maybe exchange information? Oh, there you are with Elizabeth.
She keeps moving around.
Yeah, I know. Every time somebody moves, because that is rather than frustrating yourselves, you can get direct support from
Well, if Natasha were able to come to our meeting on Monday, that would be the best, because it's something that should be discussed by the whole group, not just with me and Natasha. I think one of the big things is what we actually include in the newsletter, because there's so much news, and how we format it. So formatting comes out once we get a better idea of
Yeah.
what we're going to do with the
So
material.
you might see, Natasha, if there's an agenda and you could attend, whether maybe you have the time and want to attend the whole thing or just find out.
I can send you an email, Natasha,
Hey,
and
Yeah, that would be great
I
if you.
think I have your email. So I will send that to you just to give you an idea of what, because I just sent out a thing today to the members of the committee. Dan's away on holiday for a week, so we let him go for a brief time. So, but he won't be there, but there'll be a bunch of us there. I
great.
hope Lori's going to be there, and Sue maybe. I don't know. That would be great. But yeah, so that's my report. If there's anything that you want to have focused, that we focus on, because we talk about what's going on as well, and letting people know, and how to promote other people's campaigns, we're willing to do as well. It's just a
Great.
question of what we're all capable of doing.
I think it'll be really helpful to have Natasha at least a part of that meeting.
That'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
That will be the bulk of the meeting, actually talking about the
Thank you.
newsletter. So that would be wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. I could jump in and tell you what we're doing in Vancouver, but not to take somebody else's space, but just to tell you what we're doing in Vancouver and then maybe kind of see if that elicits more conversation with people what they're doing. So we're doing a day-long thing at a senior center. In the morning, we're going to start by talking about the knowledge now that around the world, people are worried. 89% of a global study, 89% of the people say, yes, we're worried about climate change. And 80% of them say they want their governments to do something about it. So when people think I'm kind of nervous about having a conversation, what you should realize is that overwhelmingly the people you're going to run into are people that are worried and want something done about it. And that may make it a little easier to initiate a conversation. So then we're going to set up some scenarios, the kinds of things that you might say to start a conversation, the kinds of things that you might realize are happening in the conversation where you're getting trapped in somebody else's frame and you don't know exactly what to do. Well, there are some communication skills that can help you to sort that out. But the other thing for you to remember, I'm now doing it as if we're actually doing the thing, but for people to remember is that really all you have to say is, I'm worried. That'll start the conversation. Or Catherine Hayhoe says, talk about the weird weather. So we're going to offer some things like that that give people a little sense that they've got a tool belt and a few tools in it, but also the courage that's needed is sometimes just knowing we're all feeling the same way, and we're the more quiet we are, the more doubtful we are that other people want to talk about it, but people do want to talk about it. And so we're actually offering that as an opportunity. And then we're going to give people some time to actually work with each other and practice starting a conversation. I've been doing this in the morning on my walks. I haven't done it that much, but I've done it a few times now where I just stop people on the street and say, could I ask you a question? And what do you think people say? Sure, sure. And then I say, are you worried about climate change? Or if one question that I found really was people were quite receptive to, if climate change caused you to lose something that you really love in nature or something you do that you really treasure, what would that be? And I found that that really evokes. So this is what I'm speaking of, giving people some starters. that will help them to open a conversation. And then to realize you don't have to hold people in conversation for a half hour. You can also learn how to exit a conversation. And again, rarely will that be a challenging or a bad conversation. Maybe never. I've done it maybe now 9 times, and everybody has said yes, they want to, yes, they're willing to answer a question, and they've engaged in a conversation with me. But then I've also been fairly careful after a little while to say, I really appreciate your time. Thank you. Let me let you go. And I think that's probably a good thing to do too. So even with strangers on the street, we can do this. And that's what we're trying to help people to realize this is not as big and scary a problem to start a conversation as we think. I would just say quickly, we're shifting in the afternoon with someone who's an expert in advocacy with politicians, kind of in anticipation of the next stage of this work, which is to open up these conversations with our members of parliament, our MLAs, our municipally elected people. So it's everything from strangers on the street, your family, your friends, your colleagues, and eventually our elected politicians. We need to start those conversations with them too. So that's what we're doing in Vancouver.
That's with the climate emergency, BC Climate Emergency Campaign Group, right?
Yes.
Yes, and they're so great. They did the climate report that people are using to take to their MLA to say
Yes.
BC is failing. Sue had her hand up.
Yes, great. Sue, go ahead.
I think my little white hand didn't show up very well.
No, I could see it. I just was riffing off what I was thinking, and okay.
No worries, Carol. First of all, I just have to say that Diane Ackerman gets an SFC gold star because she's already emailed me to say to give me 3 names of thrift stores that she will be going to visit. So let that be a reminder to us. My email is still in the chat. I live in Karamias, which is a village of about 1,500 people. We have the highest poverty rate in the Okanagan-Similkameen. So that's a certain type of people who live here. Let me just say we wouldn't be having the Red Rebels, not right now. So I had to think about what would be appropriate. And I talked to Lori. And this is one thing I love about this SFC group is that I can ask other people for advice. So Lori suggested that we could do through the BC Lung Association a do-it-yourself air filter. They cost about $80 an air filter, and it's a really good thing, especially for people who are on a low income and can't afford one of those beautiful air filters. The issue was finding funding because when I approached the BC Lung Foundation, they said, oh, they could give us the handouts and they were installing an air monitoring system in our village, which was great, but we needed the money. And so I approached the Community Foundation and the United Way and all kinds of places. Finally, Erlene, who is not here, but another member of the steering committee, said, why don't you try the Veterans Association?
Wow.
Because they have, their focus is on lung health. So I wrote an email to them. I didn't have much hope. And that afternoon, I went down to the library where we're hosting the event. And as I stood in the library, who should walk in the door but the BC Lung Association, 6 people. And they brought us box fans, 5 box fans, 5 furnace filters. So that's like $80 worth of equipment times 5. And lots of enthusiasm. So while they were on the road, the veterans had contacted them and said that we needed the financing. They had just been at a school in Oliver, and the kids in the Oliver school also made us 5 of those air filters. And so we're going to have a draw for those as well. So I guess my point is it just all came together partly because of all the people in this group all helping and working together. At that do-it-yourself workshop, we've just finished, almost finished up Thanks to Suzanne, who's here, Steve, who's here, and Susan, who's here. We're just finishing up a little pamphlet about the effects of climate change on seniors' health. It's a very, very simple handout. And so I plan to have that there as a conversation opener. So thanks to all the people who helped.
What a great report, Sue. Thank you. That's great. You know, it only takes about 5 minutes to make to modify a fan. It's amazing. $80 is still a lot of people, a lot of money for many people. And so it would be great if there was, a kind of continuing source that people could go to, because there's a lot of us that need it, particularly wherever the smoke and the heat is bad. But anyway, we'll if we find, deeper pockets, we'll let everybody know. Lori.
Yeah, so two things on that. The first thing is that the Lung Association and Simon Fraser University come through the Okanagan every year. And we have one or two of those events in Penticton for 3 years running, where they have 30 or 40 people come, and everyone gets a presentation and they get the box fan to take home. So that's one thing that all of our groups can do, is contact them directly and say, we want a workshop in our town. We want a workshop in our town, because smoke is so, so dangerous.
Yes.
And it's possible that you'll be lucky the way Sue was. The other thing I want to say just very quickly is it is Seniors Week. So June 1st to 7th is Canadian Environment Week, but it's also BC Seniors Week. And because of that, Penticton is having many, many, many free events. And we got in there early. And so we are having our Seniors for Climate Cafe during that time, and we have a free venue and people can come for free, and we get all of the promotion with that. So we feel very lucky. And because of that, we also got into their programming for the summer. So we have we're going to be doing the climate fresque, which is a climate collage with a facilitator in July. And then we're going to do a walk around town talking about cooling in trees and stuff in August. So being connected to the community center, I got the idea from Erlene doing climate cafes in Kitsilano in Vancouver. And I reached out and asked, and now we're into the city. And so long as we have enough people, they'll keep it going. So that's great promotion, having Seniors for Climate going to everybody's house when they get their registration for the season. So our breakthrough the climate silence won't be very big. We're maybe 10 people or 15 people. It'll be our first climate cafe. I'm very much looking forward to it. And we're just hoping to break through the climate silence with something like that. And remember, we already did the training with Erlene. We have the slideshows, and the education committee has made the sheets about how to run your climate cafe, and that's all available as well for people to share in and use if they want to get those resources. Thank you.
So let's see if there's questions or comments. We don't, we have another 15 minutes, and we'll use them as many of them as people actually want to. But let's see if there's questions or comments or ideas or anything. Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth. You are muted. Okay.
I was talking with the communications group on the idea of getting students involved. Now, because we're seniors, can we get students involved?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm just not quite clear of the mandate, in the sense that we focus on any particular age group. Because we were thinking it would be really interesting to get schools, that would happen during the school year, I guess, to come up with some ideas for an image. And I'm thinking in terms of the visual arts here, of having an image that would represent our need for communication and talking about climate change. And maybe asking a local school or challenging a group of schools to do some kind of work that ends up in an exhibition. That's my life as I'm a curator. So to actually have a place where there's an exhibition dealing with the subject of climate change or of talking about climate change.
Well, I personally think that working intergenerationally is terrific. Ricky, from the perspective of someone on the coordinating committee for the national team, do you know if there's an explicit policy?
No, no. And in many places, people organizing the events are talking to people of any age.
Yeah.
And trying to get them involved. So it is not the purpose. I mean, the intent was, first of all, not to duplicate the work that's already going on, but to support it. And secondly, to make seniors' commitment to work on climate change visible. Because the easy assumption is it's not going to affect us, right? At least unless we are the subject of a heat dome or a flood,
yes,
fire. But other than that, the worst effects are going to be on our children and our grandchildren
in the future. Yeah,
that's right. So the idea was not to be exclusive. So
okay,
I would say go right ahead.
That helps. Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to get seniors involved in creating something as well, but I'm not sure how to go about doing that. It's easier when you have a school to manage the whole thing. But okay, well, I'll bring that back to the communications committee and see what they think.
And because it's the end of the school year, that's something to bring forward to sustainability clubs in the high schools that you're in, or to the principal and say, maybe we can work on it for the breakthrough the climate.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because they need time, even when school starts, they need time to get organized.
Sure.
That would be a wonderful competition or celebration.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we were thinking. It would be fun.
And then to take it to your MLA when you go to your meeting, right? And you can say, listen, these people care. And
I can take out the portfolio of drawings. Yeah. Great idea.
So I wonder if there's somebody that hasn't had a chance to talk, but you'd just like to chime in here and offer an idea, offer a question, or just say hi. Do you think we're done for today?
4:50.
I didn't get that.
It's 4:50. That's all. I was just noticing the time.
Yeah. I think our understanding is we go to 5 if we need that much time, and we're kind of done when we're done. Does everybody feel filled up for this month? And we will carry on. I wish I had thought of it to ask, but there's an amazing new song that has been written by one of the local seniors here in Vancouver. And I'm actually wondering, because I see a Lori on the call, if that's the same Lori. Not you, Lori Goldman, but another Lori who's okay, I'm not getting any uptake on that, so I'm not going to keep going with that. Anyway, there is a great new song that you'll soon be hearing. Maybe we'll get permission to send it out to people.
Can you hum a few bars?
I'm sorry?
Can you hum a few bars?
No, I can't. And it's really one of those songs that just like thrills you.
Okay.
Hear it. And they love it in the National as well. So it's coming your way very soon. Okay. Well, let's say we're done for today. If people want to stay and just chat, that's fine. But let's also release you to be done if you're done. Lori?
One thing that I will mention is that I found out yesterday that there's actually a paper petition that Seniors for Climate has created that I didn't know about until yesterday. And I have created they had it with not enough lines.
Uh-huh.
So this is the petition, and I'm going to share it somehow. Because if you get 25 signatures or 30
Oh, great.
signatures, you can give this to your member of parliament when you go to your meeting. And each time they have a set of 25 or 30, the petition requires 25 signatures. MPs say get 30 in case some of the signatures are not allowed. And
Uh-huh.
every time they get a packet of 30 signatures, they can stand up in Parliament in Ottawa and say, I have a petition from my constituents, and this is what it says. And every time they can stand up and it gets into the Hansard. And it is really a powerful way. The online government petitions are very good, but this is a good way also to get people engaged, especially at a tabling or something like that. And many people really want to sign it. So this is called the prayer, and it has to be at the top of every page. So this is a 3-page unit, which is about 30 signatures. And you can just print them off, put them together, get your 30, and you can use that when you go in to see your MP. And you can even say, when you call up, you say, I have a petition that I would like to give to my MP. And they might give you 5 minutes for that. And
You
that
could email that to us, to me.
it will be in the follow-up email. So when you
Okay.
get your follow-up email with this recording, check the links, check the boxes, because there's going to be a lot of things from this meeting to help you to be more proactive. So
Great.
when you're going through it, I will have them titled and a button or a link to it. Yeah.
Thank you, Lori.
Yes, thank you, Lori. You're amazing for putting out a lot of information. I just noted yesterday too that they said that if you get, say, 55 or 60 signatures, you can break it up into 2 submissions rather than one with 60, 2 with 30. And each one of them can be treated as a separate submission. I may not have used exactly the right language, but that's the impression that I got. So it does sound like it sounds like maybe a nice little introduction to making an appointment to see your member of parliament. I have a petition. I have a petition signed by 60 people to offer to you. Yeah. All those kinds of things are going to be a little more foot in the door. I hope. Okay.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.